team that maybe hasn't been quite what they've been over the last couple of years, but they're still a pretty good hockey club, aren't they?
They are. They're a little beat up on the blue line, so that's where they're probably not as dynamic as they have been. But yet they have Carlson, who seems to be able to run their power play and produce a lot of offense for them. The forwards can still go. They're skilled, high-end guys are a factor every night in the game, and we saw that in Edmonton when we continually turned pucks over a couple of weeks ago. So we'll have to clean that up.
All right, your goaltender's seen a lot of work here. You going to go back-to-back with him, or are we going to see a little?
No, LB will play today. It's his opportunity to go in and help the team towards 2 points, and we believe he can do a good job.
The McDavid, Draisaitl, and Maroon line has been very quiet, 5-on-5 over the last 4 games. Any thoughts to possibly mixing the lines up at all?
We've talked about different things. We'll see who's healthy and who's available, but we still expect them to produce at a high level. They've been able to score goals that were meaningful goals on this road trip, winners, and maybe in different situations, not always 5-on-5, but they're a factor. I have less concern about that line than I do the third and fourth lines.
Are teams just putting 2 and 3 lines out against your number one line, or is it just like yesterday? Obviously, it looked like McDonough and Holden on defense, and Hayes and Nash were against them.
Well, they have every team has a plan, and every team has a group of players that relish that role of trying to shut Connor and Leon down, and Patty Maroon for that matter. It's a big challenge, and it's one that some teams rise to the occasion, and individuals do, and others don't. And it's reminiscent of trying to shut Gretzky or Lemieux down. You take a lot of pride in that. And they find 3 or 4 defensemen that can do it. They find 2 lines that can do it. I don't think it's a job that falls into one line's role based on the minutes that they play. And some teams have success, some teams don't.
You said you're not getting much out of your third and fourth line. Were you surprised what Puljujärvi gave you yesterday on that line with Nugent-Hopkins? And was he at a level that maybe you hadn't seen ever?
Well, surprised isn't a good word, because that would mean you didn't believe he could do it.
Right.
We were we were aware that he had that in his game, and like I said after, he did a lot of the things last night that we've been asking him to do. He kept plays alive. He worked in straight lines. He had great stick on the forecheck. He used his skating and his size to his advantage. He worked himself into holes where he could get his shot off, and he played with a lot of confidence. So that's a real positive sign for us that, after one game anyhow, in that short little time frame, he regained some confidence and played like the player we believe he can be. So that's a good thing for us, especially with the bottom 6 struggling to add Jesse into the mix and try and get healthy. We need to create a little more competition on those bottom 6, with those bottom 6 players, in my opinion, and push guys to be better in all situations.
So, I guess as a coach, you've got your 3 guys on the first line with Connor, Patty, and Leon. Is there a tendency as a coach to spread it around then, because the third and fourth lines will move one of those guys
well,
down?
You know what? It's the age-old adage. We can put Leon on his own line and give him wingers, and then Nuge moves down a line, and in my opinion, he's been one of our better players. So why would we do that? We can put Leon down on the third line, and then he's got to be productive with some players that aren't producing right now. They're not getting it going. So until we see a little bit of life from the bottom 6, we'll keep our lines the way they are. And if they show a little bit of life, a little bit of ability to score and to create chances, then Leon will have some wingers. And it's as simple as that.
It's not always, they always say, well, okay, you keep pairs together and then you can put another winger with.
Well, it's not that easy. We've got
those guys aren't scoring.
We've got 10 players in the bottom 6 that have scored about 2 goals total. That's disappointing. It's flat out disappointing. They're disappointed individually. So I'm not saying anything that's going to damage them as individuals or their confidence, but we expected a lot more from every one of those guys. And Test, Cass, those type of guys that were here in the past, they have to pick their games up and lead that group there.
You mentioned before you weren't worried the offense is where the offense is at, but it was defense first. Can we extend that metaphor for Clefbaum, who's having to take on a greater responsibility with second round of the lineup? I mean, he's trying to get something done offensively, but obviously there's some challenges there on his own end.
Yeah, he's, like I said last night after the game, he had some real positive moments and some not so good. And if you are going to graduate up and become that go-to guy, every team seems to have one. Tonight we'll see Carlson. Last night it was Shattenkirk, and all of these players, they have warts. They have moments where they struggle doing something during a game, but their production allows their team to be more successful than not. And right now, Clef's production isn't overcoming some of his mistakes.